Welcome everyone to the Sabrina Show. What episode is this?
Oh, I think it's 18.
18. That means we're in season 2 by now.
Almost season 3. Welcome. Hi. Come on in. Pull up a front row seat. We're going to have a great chat today about how to go from a bummer into a breakthrough.
That's right. How to go from a trial and tribulation into a triumph.
Yeah, baby.
And then how maybe everything we just said is a bunch of crap. Oh,
what?
Yes.
We don't ever tell a non-truth. Wearing my cool Sabrina shades again. And what is this music?
It's
I like
called
Very jazzy.
the Cool Jazz Fusion.
Jazz fusion. Hi, everybody. All right, we are going to jump right in here. Coming at you live from Austin, Texas.
So when we look down, it's because we can see your comments and we're trying to
Connect with
look
you.
at the live feed.
We want to be with you. Hi, Joe. Hello,
What do you
Nancy.
know?
What do you know, Joe? Hi, Gail. Hi, Carolyn. Here they come. Hi, Ron. Awesome, awesome. This is the best date night ever. We get to have this date with y'all.
I'll make it even better for you.
What? And then we're going to go out for another little date. Oh, look who's here. Troublemaker. Hello, Troublemaker. He's got his own chair today, so he's not going to cry.
Yeah. Sometimes he just comes and looks. And that means, could you please stop running around and sit down so I can sit next to you and the world will be okay?
That's right. Focus on me. Hi, Trudy. Hello, Bonnie. Hi, Debbie.
Do you have a pet like that just sometimes says, sit down, we need to rest together?
Me. We've got 2 Trudys here. How cool is that? Welcome. All right. Well, Sabrina, I know you have a lot to share. Are you leaving? Oh, we're doing cavalier catching.
He likes to run.
Cavalier catching around here. It's a whole art. All right, cool. Well, I've got this ready to rock and roll.
All right.
Let's do it.
Let me turn down the tune.
Turn it up.
Oh, that was right as it was ending. How perfect is that?
So good.
Okay, well, Mr. Tristan, why don't you kick it off?
Well, okay. Where do we come up with the title for today? Well, over the years, we've definitely had our fair share of what we would frame as a bummer. And I know that y'all get that, right? Things in life that we're just like, no. This isn't supposed to be happening. Yeah. I didn't order that.
Yeah, it might be, like financially, I had 4 homes.
Oh, yeah.
And lost them all. The 4th one was actually the one I was living
bummer, right?
Seems like.
Seemed like that
was a big bummer. Everything I had saved my whole life was in those 4 houses, but there was a crash and...
Yeah, crash, fall down, go boom. All the houses go bye-byes. And all the investment go bye-byes.
So we had taken all the money out of the 3 small houses to buy this giant, best house in the world.
On the top of the mountain, in the nicest place ever, in Westlake in Austin.
And then when the real estate had its dip.
We'll call it a dip.
Just things happen. Anyway, that seemed like a bummer at the time.
We don't actually talk about that one too much. Isn't that amazing? I guess we handled that one in our own way, and we got this beautiful home, and we had the means to be able to make other things happen.
Real quick. We had renters in 3 of the homes, and when Austin crashed, people were having trouble maybe paying their rent, so those tenants moved out.
Yes.
And so we put the homes up for sale, but no one was
around.
buying anything, and the houses didn't have any money in them because we had taken it out to buy the Grande house.
Maybe you've done one of those.
Yeah.
All right. There's so many friends here.
Yay.
Wendy, Pat, Jackie, Nancy.
But I'll tell you,
Susan,
while he's
Kim.
doing that, if I had stayed in that big house, it was actually almost like 3 houses because there was 2 woodworkers that I was in partnership with the real estate, and one had their own house, and they had a wood shop on the property, and they were building me like a suite, and then we got engaged.
It was a suite.
So
beautiful view.
It's kind of awkward when you're married. For me, it's just not my idea of a married life to like live with other men in the house.
Sounds weird. Three's company too.
So by losing the houses, being invited to give them up and start over from scratch allowed us to start out to choiceless before we were married, like, we got to find a place to live.
I think a lot of times people call these situations blessings in disguise, but they
Yeah.
don't feel like blessings at all. It didn't feel like a blessing when I couldn't walk and I was in so much agonizing pain and I was running out of money from all the medical bills. That didn't feel like a blessing. That felt like a big fat bummer. But looking back, and that's what I think is the beautiful part of this conversation, is for all of us to take a moment and look back to times in life when we framed things as, that sucked. Maybe you're going through one right now, and this is the perfect reminder. Remember when, and then how you got through it. Like, what transpired for you to be able to get out of it.
Yeah.
What we've noticed is the power of the mind is so important to look how we look at things. Even right now today, we're creating our futures, right? With our thoughts. Thoughts become things. So if you think you're in the middle of a bummer right now, what could you be doing mentally, energetically, to shift that bummer into the breakthroughs that we then look back later and go, but actually that was kind of a blessing. I had a big breakthrough. So let's talk about that.
Yeah. And it might not be like this fantastical breakthrough where I had this energy healing and then I started a business and now I help everyone to heal. It doesn't even have to be that. It can be the smallest of things where if I hadn't been through that, I wouldn't have made that decision, which led me to go there and meet that person and make that decision, which then led me to launch this and to do that. And that's when that happened. Timing.
Y'all are related.
Sometimes it all sets up the timing. Everything is related. Yeah. And sometimes in the moment you can't see, like it really seems like a bummer, but there are emotional lessons to learn from things, that we're different people when we've been through something. But when I had never hurt my back, and maybe 2 or 3 years ago I lifted a heavy bag by myself. Shouldn't have.
The dojo.
The heavy bags are big. They're like what,
150 pounds.
Yeah. And they're big. And I thought it'd be a really nice gesture if I carried them all by myself and hung them up. Hang on. So that when, sorry, Amazon is here.
You guys have to go. We're on the live.
Excuse us.
Thank you, Bentley. You are such a good guard dog. Come here. Now, I'll tell you why he's upset. He's upset because they didn't read the no soliciting sign. Look at this protector. He's fierce like a Doberman.
He's like, put me down. I have to go make sure they're gone.
Go check things out. Where were we?
I have no idea. Where were we? Tell us.
No, we were talking about the framing of things, or at least we were heading into that.
Oh, the heavy bags. So
Yeah.
I hung the heavy bags, and then something happened, and I couldn't walk for a few days. I could get down on the toilet, but I couldn't get up by myself. I mean,
I remember,
and
need to help.
I never understood back pain, that you can't breathe, right? Has your back ever gone out? Have you ever had one of those? It might just be a couple days. What do they don't call it a catch.
Oh, when it glitches.
Yeah, it's like, I'm down in my back, or there's some word like
my
that.
back went up.
Or I couldn't roll over in bed. I'd be laying and I'd think I'm going to roll over. In my sleep, I forgot I can't move. And And if I hadn't been through that, I wouldn't have the compassion, not only for you, but for all the people that come to us with back pain, because now I realize it affects your whole life. So am I glad I hurt my back? No. But I'm always seeking the benefit. What came out of it? What positive thing came out of it that I could move forward? Because my whole life is what I feel about things, right? So why not look for the good?
And it can happen in any moment. You could be in the middle of a live stream and someone could come knock on your door and you could think, well, that's a bummer. Do you guys ever remember? I don't know if you saw this. There was a newscaster and he was doing a live stream from his office and his little kid came in and was walking and came in like 3 times and the nanny was like trying to get the baby out. And it was on like national news in the middle. And I realized I probably scared the heck out of that poor guy.
Who was he?
They were soliciting. They wanted to sell us like some lawn care or something. Oh. And I said, you have to go now? We're in the middle of a live stream. He's like, oh, okay.
You should have invited. Wouldn't it be funny?
I'm having a breakthrough moment.
Next time, bring him in.
I should have. By the way, you're on TV. Welcome to all our friends. So I'm going to share my first time that I actually experienced turning what I would say was a bummer experience into a beautiful breakthrough. And
Mm,
if the sooner you can catch them, and I'm going to say reframe them, because that's what we're going to move into, the power of the reframing. It's just like you put a frame around a picture. We put a frame around this pretty lady. And you say, oh, it's so beautiful, right? But then if something in here changes, we might change the frame, and the frame has to do with how we're looking at something, right?
mm-hmm.
So I was looking at this situation through a frame that had been influenced to some degree by my mom, and also some of my own experiences as well. And it had to do with my dad, my birth father, Peter. And so as a young boy, I really loved my dad. And mom and dad got divorced when I was 6. I was just a little guy. And I remember in the mornings, before everybody got up in the house, I would call out to him. He had a very, obviously, strong British accent. I wouldn't have known that as a little boy because you don't know any different. I was, Daddy, 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 come, Daddy. And I would call out to him. And my dad was this big, buff, kind of burly guy. And Sabrina met him before he had transitioned. And you'd say he was kind of a big, strong guy,
Yeah,
right?
well, and especially to a 6-year-old.
Yeah.
He must have been a
And
giant.
he'd come in the room, and he'd get in the bed and cuddle with me. And I remember that. And it was so wonderful to have my dad and feel that strength. And we'd lay in bed and, like nap, and then I'd go off to school. So those are some of my earliest memories of bonding and connection. Now there was other drama, right? Mom and dad were young when they had us, my sister and I. They didn't
Not
have...
us.
Not us. That would be weird. Us meaning...
We turned a bummer into
we figured out a way. So I just recall all the drama and all the fighting between them, and all of the things that unfortunately mom didn't know how to handle. And so I heard a lot of stuff. Can anyone relate? Have you been through fighting with your family when you were younger?
And sometimes they want the child to choose sides or pick a side, especially
going to get custody?
When the parents are so young.
Yeah, they didn't have, and even today, I think we all have so many better personal development skills. This is like, what, 40 something years ago. Anyway, so I had all this drama with my dad. We moved to America, blah, blah, blah. Mom brings the kids. Dad ends up moving to America later. And I just remember all these fights with him and all this struggle. In America, yeah, because we left pretty quick after the divorce and everything, and then I just didn't see him. So I'm jumping forward to, I'm now 22 years old, around the time that I met you. And you probably didn't know this, but I really didn't like my dad. And we argued a lot, and we didn't talk much, too, because it was uncomfortable. And I remember starting to work on myself and the conversations we've had with you guys about how we create our realities, and how, our external is a reflection of our internal. And I started to learn about the soul, the journey of the soul. And I started to learn about karma, and that maybe we've been in these journeys together before. And if that's the case, maybe there's this soul contract that I have with certain people. Do you relate to that? Let us know. I realized that I'm pretty sure this soul came into this life specifically ordering this relationship with my father and my mother and other key players in my life. And if that's the case, and we designed this before we realized it, but we consciously designed it, then there was a reason for that. And if there was a reason, and I could only at this point in my life come to the conclusion that we came here to remember who we are and to choose love, which is what everything Sabrina and I stand for and teach, is be love, serve love. At 22, I was like, okay, he's gonna get a pass because he's played the role for me perfectly. Now, what am I doing? I'm changing the frame that I'm looking through, and I'm starting to see these are things in my energetic field and matrix that are for me, not against me.
And as a child, I see a lot of people in the comments have similar stories. You start wondering, maybe when you're an adult, are those really your thoughts about your dad? Or is it something your mom said,
Right?
or a
Others.
relative, or a
Yeah.
friend, or a sister? And
Totally,
when you get
right?
together, you all kind of dog this one person. How much of it is authentically your experience? Yes, some, but we borrow other people's judgments of someone.
We're influenced for sure.
Hmm.
So there were definitely experiences that I can say were mine that were unique with my dad. There were things he did that were big and mean and strong kind of guy. Now, granted, everybody is going to evolve, hopefully, while they're here. He certainly did. He was not the same guy when you met him. Kind,
Oh,
loving, giving man,
awesome.
right? But
Funny.
here's the part that I think is the breakthrough. I think there's two pieces to this, and I want to pitch this back to Sabrina. And that is, I started to change how I was looking at things and also how I was feeling towards him. And I started to send love to my dad. Not anger, not judgment, not holding him in an old story. And I believe that something energetically happened. That as I drop, we can call it karmic bond if you want, or
Hmm.
whatever you want to call it, I cut that chain. And this is important for if you're holding on to something with somebody, you could own your own experience and choose love, even if you don't. I didn't like a lot of the actions and behaviors that he had chosen, but I was choosing that I'm going to love you because you played a role for me to wake up. Whether you become a complete saint or stay in whatever, you could be the biggest jerk in the world, it doesn't matter. I'm going to send you love. And he changed. When I changed, he changed.
Well, maybe it's like the Trisbrina, where those energies come together, the energy of Tris Peter, right? Because it's always a commingling. When it changed that. It might not be that other people in his world thought, Peter, you've suddenly
Maybe,
changed, but the
maybe.
relating with you
Well,
changed.
definitely the relationship changed, but something in us owning our energy and owning what we're putting out, and if we do have karmic connections with others and we can clean them up, maybe that's the greatest service we could do for them. Because if you really do unconditionally love someone, even if they're being a jerk, you
Yeah.
still know that behind that personality there's a soul there. I chose to see the soul. And I think we pull out of others what we project onto them. I changed the frame first, but the last piece of this is, how did I change the frame? Because I remembered something. I remembered my soul came here with a particular goal, a mission. Choose love and use everything. And that's why you're here. Boom, that bummer became a beautiful breakthrough, and a beautiful relationship was formed.
You got before
Just
before he
incredible.
transitioned. You guys, we were talking like every week for years.
I'm just so grateful that I cleaned that karma up. And I had it with another person just last week.
Hmm.
And I did the same thing. There was a thread left. And I said, I'm going to look through a brand new, fresh lens.
Someone you'd known since you were probably 20.
Over 20 years.
Yeah.
And I still had a little. Actually, this was a way for me to find out if I still had anything. And I didn't. It was so easy to be with this person, even though they did wrong action. Whatever. They felt so bad about it. I know my dad felt like, what a weight was lifted. So I hope that's touching you and reminding you to
Hmm.
not hold people in roles, and that you can turn whatever bummers into
Yeah.
beautiful breakthroughs.
Yeah, because I'm responsible, like we were saying earlier, for the thoughts between my ears, right? I'm responsible for that, and I get to choose that. We were talking while we were getting ready for the date with you guys that, let's say that you got married, and you had wedding pictures, and you put them in beautiful frames, and for 10 years you look at them and, oh, I remember my wedding day, I love him so much. And then maybe at year 15 you're like, kind of an asshole. I'm getting a little tired of his temper, he's so lazy. He's not interested in these spiritual things that I'm interested in. I'm tired of his small thoughts, and he's holding me back. The picture didn't change. The frame's changing. It's the same picture,
Right.
right? And then, so what do? Let's say you move on. Maybe you learned all the lessons with that person that you have in this lifetime, maybe, and you get divorced, right? And you both move on and find somebody that is more compatible and aligned to each of you. where you are from this moment and have those lessons. Well, you can look back at that first relationship and just like Tristan had to do with his dad and think, of all the bad things about it. Or you can choose to leave the beautiful frame on and say, I'm so glad I had that experience. I was so deeply in love. I was so young. I've learned so much since then. I've had a podcast go live today, and a lot of the stories in it, I'm really, really innocent, almost to what some people would think naive, maybe a little dumb. So I could put that frame around it and think, get a clue, Sabrina. Or I can think, wow, I was so innocent. I've learned so much. If those same things happened to me now, I would handle them in a different way. So I guess my point is, I have to live with the thoughts between my ears. Not the ex-husband, which I don't have, by the way. Not the ex-husband and no one else. And I have to live with those thoughts and I have to live with those feelings. So what's really beautiful is to keep a beautiful frame on everything and always look for what you can squeeze out of it. What you can squeeze out of it. Even if all you can get is, I've learned so much, I won't make that same decision again. I'll make something better. Anything you can do to move it towards something positive. And what that's going to do is put you in alignment with something more beautiful. If you stay, saying, he's a jerk and he held me back and I missed so many opportunities by being married to him. He smoked. The kids probably going to be sick all the time. The curtains smelled horrible. I was embarrassed to invite anybody over, right? You could just go on and on with the story. And that's what we've been calling picking the scab.
Right.
Right? He's not smoking in your house now. Why are you still talking about it?
Right.
You clean the curtains. They're not dirty. Why are you bringing it up? Why are you talking about this stuff from the past? Yep. Why are you picking the scab? Just let it heal. Let it heal. Let it heal. And yes, it might leave a little scar, but we don't have to keep picking it. Totally. Right? Like I got this little boo-boo right here. I touched the oven. So, and I say that, and I know it's difficult. I know, there's been some really scary things that have happened to me in my life, and I've had to, I reframe them, especially after time passes. And I notice that the more I do it during my waking hours, consciously, it affects the dream state. Because I know a lot of us, we're like, well, I can in the day, yeah, but at nighttime I have nightmares. At night I worry. At night I have those dreams where I can't get everything packed. At night I have that dream where I can't get my locker open. I'm late for school. At night I have that dream where I have to go to the bathroom so bad and I can't find a bathroom, or my teeth are falling out, or I can't.
Good Lord, woman!
Right?
How do you sleep?
Exactly. So the more you change the story consciously when you're awake, then that becomes the subconscious and the pattern, and all of that, those night thoughts, you've changed the subconscious.
That's beautiful.
Oh, I can't talk right now, Heather.
Thank you for all the incredible shares that are coming through. Every now and then I'm able to put some up on the screen so everybody can enjoy them even afterwards. So we really appreciate how you guys are resonating with this. And isn't it beautiful to be reminded, and this is a constant reminder, I've got to drink my own drink here, drink my own beer, eat my own
Eat your own cooking.
Eat your own cooking, where what other things are happening for me right now rather than to me or against me. And I can remember from other experiences like that breakthrough I shared and the ones you're talking about, is like, but wait a minute, you've been able to use everything to grow, right? It's the expedient, it's the quickening, it's the elixir, the catalyst, whatever you want to call it, that it was working for you, right? It doesn't seem like it when we're going through it, but what if you could turn it into such an incredible triumph, an incredible breakthrough where you look back and go, look what I made from that situation.
Almost every great mentor and teacher, almost every single one, became what they became and have the message that they had because something they didn't want to have happen happened to them. Yeah. And they chose to rise.
There's a saying.
And then they love to share and inspire others with that.
Every master was first a disaster. I don't consider myself a master, but I love to master my mastery, which means keep working the craft. Another saying that I'm fond of is to surrender your surrender. When you think that's it, that's all I can release, that's can't let go of anymore. He's like, okay, let go of that, because you keep dropping your false identity and remembering your truth. In this journey of remembering, I have to go through a couple of steps usually. The first thing is I got to recognize that I'm looping, that I'm projecting, that I'm off,
That's
right?
so awful.
When you catch it. And it's important that we notice it. That's why it's important, I think, to meditate and to clear your mind so you can notice what's going on with you and actually hear your thoughts.
It's like watching this same episode of some TV show that didn't even have a good plot over and over and over.
Because if you're just in your head, you can get caught in the noise and you don't even know that you're in the drama, right? Yeah. So to be able to have some space, some witness consciousness, you can see, oh, wow, look at what the mind, not me, that part of the mind is reacting to. It's so powerful when you can split the identity for a moment and remember. And sometimes before remembering, there's a bit of releasing that needs to take place. Mm-hmm. But I've noticed something about the word releasing that I wanted to bring to today's conversation, and that is I love to breathe things out and let go and go for a run and punch a bag and do the releasing. But sometimes there's nothing that needs to be released so much. It's just I kind of need to recalibrate. I'm going to tweak my R a little bit. I need to just recalibrate my energy flow. Because as soon as I do a little qigong or get a little bit of flow going, the next thing happens. That's when I tap in and I can remember. When I can remember who I am, it is so much easier to apply the reframe. If I'm putting a frame on top of an ugly picture, that usually breaks later. There's only so long you can reframe for. Do you know what I mean? Like keep putting frames around it. What if you can have the frame be shown from the consciousness? Like, oh wait, I actually see it as it is. At least from this perspective of clarity today. Then the frame naturally changes. And I think the follow-up is you actually speak your truth into your reality.
Yeah. And it's not like you get one chance. You have that frame, you only get one chance to reframe. It might be just little baby steps, little steps as you're allowed to let go. And I feel like I can remember the truth. That doesn't mean that I can't feel the negative emotion at the same time.
Sure.
It might just be energy. And to me, that's a good time. I'm not going to get in my head about it and try to therapy myself or call a friend and talk about it. And, sometimes stop talking about it. Sometimes go outside and look at a leaf and go for a walk and kiss your cat, pet your cat. Be grateful for your cat and stop thinking about the other thing.
Shift your state, right?
Shift your state. Yeah, with some frames, I actually prepare a little bit.
Okay.
For example, like there's certain bummers that maybe I'm afraid are going to happen, right? Which then I get really worried because of law of attraction. Oh no, that one thing that I don't want to have happen, I'm thinking about it happening and worrying about it happening, which means I'm praying for it happening. Now it's probably going to happen even more. Stop thinking about it. Or maybe it's just me. So let's say that, and I'm going to talk about this in a real generic way so I don't get emotional, that you have a pet.
Oh, good luck. You've already gone down that path.
And a lot of times our pets don't live as long as we do. Many, many times. And I've had to, I've had a lot of friends. So not that it won't hurt if I outlive Winston and Bentley. It will hurt a lot because I'll miss their smell and I'll miss the day to day. I'll miss so many things that fill my days. I will miss that. But I've already framed it that I am so blessed to have I'm borrowing these creatures of God, and I'm being allowed to take care of them for a little while. And they've never been mine. I'm just so blessed that I get to take care of them for a little while. And I'm going to cherish every moment that I do, and I will miss them when they're not there. But I want to keep it beautiful, and I want to keep remembering this, how amazing. I want to remember the good stuff. Not if an animal gets sick and everybody talks about those last few days and how much maybe the dog suffered. Don't focus on that. Focus about how he loved to run into the neighbor's yard and lick their grass because it smelled like the dog's pee next door. How he loved to chase bugs and how he cried to sit next to you. Always think about the good stuff. Anytime the thing wants to go to the bad and the horrific. That's why I don't watch horror movies. I don't watch bloody things because my brain takes a picture of it and throws it up for me to look at again and again and again. And it's the same thing with thoughts. Just cherish just the beauty. You know, the same thing. You know.
Oh, you're gonna go down that path
with people,
too?
Right? Just if as much as you can, when you remember those who have passed. Well, first of all, they're still here. So, like, we talk to Peter all the time. Like, always
Peter's here today. I feel him with this conversation.
The whole life, all of the experiences. Remember the laughter. Put a frame around it of joy. How lucky you were to have that relating. How lucky. Don't focus on just the last few days that maybe were ugly and horrible, because so many people hang on to that as the memory of their parent or the memory of their spouse. That's not who they were. They were that life, that whole span. Put that frame around it.
I was just feeling when you were sharing about the pups, what that does for them now. They feel that energy now, that you're not missing, you're present, because they're just in pure here now present, right?
Yeah.
So you're bringing that love now so that you can be in that love when then they are transitioning. I did hear a sad story about somebody's pup who was transitioning, and the person had so much fear, and we saw this even with my father, that the one that the pup would have loved to have been with the most couldn't even show up to be with the pup.
It was a veterinarian that was saying that
happens a lot.
The hardest thing for him is when he has to end an animal's life and the owner is too freaked out to be there with the animal. I have no judgments on anyone, but
yeah, it can be so painful.
They already know that if I'm there.
And the good news is we can be with that energy regardless, but maybe what you were saying today is very helpful for me and for all of us to be aware, be ready now, so that, and I did this as a martial artist, it was my backup strategy. If this happens, what will my response be? I'm going to choose love. I'm going to choose a proactive approach. So I sometimes think about what are the things that would shut you down. Okay, now let's see how we're going to handle them. And you don't spend all day thinking about the things that scare you, but to just the ones that are kind of right there, lean into them a little bit and see if you can't prep now.
Soften the edges.
Yeah, so that you can choose love if and when those things show up. So thank you, my dear. I hope you guys enjoyed.
I can't wait to read all your comments.
Yeah, when we go out on date night, we take the iPad with us.
We're so cool. We take an iPad.
And we sit there with the iPad and we go through and we read and we love and we heart, and we just have such a great experience being so connected to this incredible tribe. You guys make our lives so joyful. It is such a blessing to spend this time with our friends, with you guys who are vibing with this and contributing your beautiful shares and your energy.
Yep.
Like, some people think there's a camera here. There's no camera. We are we're not even seeing a camera. It's the weirdest thing. We had this conversation recently because this is something we're going to be teaching soon. There's no camera. We are truly feeling you and seeing you and connecting with you. It's incredible. And some of you are going to meet in Austin for the first time. We've never met. But it's going to feel like we haven't met in person, but it's going to feel exactly like, oh, wait, I already know you.
Yep.
That's the power of what's going on today.
Sometimes
can you tell us about
even more intimately?
Even more, right?
Right, because when we meet each other and we're all in the comfort of our own home, like those of you that are in the virtual dojo, when we're all in our homes working out, we're all comfortable. We don't have to deal. No one's having to deal with social stuff. So I feel like we really share our hearts and share our love because we're all in our safe spaces. Yes, we're having a live event here in Austin. It's November 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. It starts on a Friday and ends on a Tuesday. Right now we have something called the All Access Pass. You can, if you're interested in coming to Austin and hanging out with us, you can check it out at satorimethod.com/big life. And the All Access Pass is going to be going away and probably within the week. And then there'll be other ways to attend bits and pieces of it.
Thank you, Sandy. That's really beautiful.
Aww.
Yeah, I feel that. You got me.
And
Sandy, you got me.
His dad was such an entrepreneur. He had a 7-Eleven. And what did he do with cars?
My dad was a race car driver.
But when we went to visit and we were telling him about the business, I told Tristan later, I'm like, he's you. You're him.
He used to race Mini Coopers. Look what you did, Sandy. You made me cry. And thank you. All right. So much love to you all. Truly blessed. Have an amazing rest of your date night. And we'll see you guys next week for sure. We'll be here doing this. And if you're in our other programs, we'll see you everywhere.
Yeah, we changed our flight next Thursday so we could do this.
That's right. Okay.
So we love you.
Much love, everybody. Until next time, stay beautiful.